September, CNN's last remaining original employee, senior UN correspondent Richard Roth, sent a letter to his coworkers. He was in desperate need of a new kidney, and he explained that even though he had received a kidney transplant 25 years ago, it was now dying inside of him. And that is when his colleague, deputy managing editor of CNN's investigations unit, Smira Jafari, answered the call. They started intense testing to determine if she was a match around Thanksgiving. And then on Tuesday, I'm getting chills as I say this.
It's just incredible.
Richard successfully received a kidney from the woman that he now calls his heroine. And they are both with us now. It is so wonderful to see both of you. I want to ask you both the same question. Richard, starting with you. How are you feeling physically and emotionally?
Well, a little sore, understandably, with the incision. And these are the dangerous times because I have very little immunosuppression against any infection or disease. I'm going back after this interview to Yale New Haven Medical, where the surgery was performed for my first checkup, as will Sumira. I'm just very blessed. I'm not very lucky at the racetrack, one of my loves, but so far with this medical lifeline that Sumira has given me, it's onward and upward.
It's wonderful to hear, and it's far better to be lucky with this than at the racetrack. Sumira, how are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm getting stronger every day. As Richard mentioned, I too have a follow-up appointment today, and I'm actually hoping I'll be cleared for travel to get back home to Atlanta. But the surgery was definitely easier on my body than on Richard. So I'm continuously rooting for him, and I hope he gets strong every day too.
I will say you both look and sound great.
Yeah.
All right. I know you're going through a lot, especially you, Richard, right now. I do want to tell the story of how this all came to be because Sumira, CNN, and this is something when people come to work at CNN, they'll say it's big, right? So you and Richard, well, obviously you knew of each other. You hadn't worked closely. You didn't have a relationship where you were immediate colleagues. So how did this all come to be?
No, that's right. I kind of joked that my kidney met Richard before I actually did in person. I'd only worked with Richard over the phone. I had edited in my old job some of his scripts, but really I was just hearing out his email. I was moved by it, and I knew he was a CNN original, and I also just had great admiration for what he did as a journalist and who he was. And it just, as a human, just felt like something I could do at that point in my life. It just felt possible for me to do this. I knew at a basic level, I knew these surgeries are successful, but that the real difficulty are often successful, but the real difficulty is actually finding donors. And so I just felt like I was in a place in my life that maybe I could raise my hand and just get it started and maybe be the match.
That takes enormous courage as well as kindness. Richard, how do you thank someone who saved your life?
I've been wondering about that. Sumira is not the type of person who looks to be getting pats on the back and the glory. She is not that type of person. So perhaps coming up with the right idea is even a little tougher, but I'll come up with something. I'm very fortunate. I mean, there are 117,000 people looking for kidneys and livers, and many people die each day. I guess I could only ask people who are like Sumira or tend to lean that way to think about donating to a friend or a relative. Sumira was out of the hospital the next day, but if it wasn't for our former leader, Jeff Zucker, reiterating my plea on the morning CNN conference call, maybe Sumira can join in on what happened then, how close it was to her hearing about me.
Please.
I wouldn't have read the email. We get hundreds of emails. I wouldn't have read it. And it's nothing about Richard. You guys know how many emails we get a day, and it's just and how much movement there is around this company, how much news moves around. And if Jeff hadn't said, hey, I need you guys to read Richard Roth's email, I probably would have missed it in the big scheme of things. And I'm just really glad I didn't. And Richard, he doesn't need to do anything else. Richard has shown nothing but gratitude and courage through this whole process. I just really want, a lot of it has been made of me, and I just really, really want people to understand that this would not be possible without our surgeons. We have amazing surgeons. We were in amazing hands. And every time I think of them, and I want to name them, Dr. Hawkinson and Dr. Kulkarni at the Yale Transplant Center, just down the street from me. Their team was incredible. And the minute I met them, I knew this is completely doable, not just for me, but for a lot of people. So they really should be commended in this process.
Yeah, it's so many heroes. Richard?
Can I just briefly thank all the CNN people who tried to help me along the way, and former CNN people. And I'm inundated with emails and tweets, people who usually ask me, are you still working? And now it's better to how are you feeling?
Yeah, that is good news. Richard, can you just tell us a little bit about how you found out that Sumira was willing to help, what that was like, how much time between sending that email out of sort of desperation and knowing that you were maybe going to get some help?
I need to look back on this because as everyone knows, I save almost every email. And I think it was an email, not a phone call, but I definitely want to check back. I know I've saved one or two of her phone messages. I mean, she could have dropped out at any point. I had one or two people do that. We had doctors rule out some other CNN people. I always said for months, until this kidney is in me, I'm not holding out hope, because that's how perilous it all is.
Richard, I think that you were renowned in this company for your sense of humor and also for your warmth and your graciousness. And it is so beautiful to see that return to you. Sumira, you are a hero. The surgeons are heroes. And it is just beautiful to speak with you both today. Thank you so much, and best of luck in both of your recoveries.